Hey, Chelsea. I just need Oh, go ahead.
Oh, no, you're fine. I was like, I feel like we need a public service announcement to the world.
Listen, America, until you're married, you are single. So,
what if we just got engaged?
you're still single. What happens if I live with my boyfriend and we have kids?
Still single. But wait, we've been together for 15 years.
Like, super single. I call his mother Mom.
Aw, and she calls you single. My kids call him Dad.
Survey says, ding, single. We have joint bank accounts.
Yes, and this is getting old. You're single. But he has credit in my name.
Oh, well then you're stupid and single.
That's true. Well, now that we've covered all the bases of who's listening to this show, Dave, play that track. What's really funny is we can't hear the show's episode song.
Wait, I'm dancing, so I'm probably off beat. This is not cool. America, I stay on.
This is when it's actually gonna end.
Did the beat drop? Did it?
Hey guys, I'm Chelsea.
I'm Stacy, and this is Reasons Why I'm Single.
How are you doing on this beautiful Wednesday evening?
Girl, I'm a little tired, but I'm doing okay. Shout out to Zoom and their amazing Touch Up My Appearance filter, because you've been holding it down for your homegirl since March. Thank you.
Preach. I mean, I don't have it. I don't know how to do it.
Because you don't need it.
Well, I mean, I don't need it because guess what Stacy, guess what I got myself for my birthday?
What did you, I mean, my guess is always makeup, but I feel like there's a twist somewhere.
I'm getting Botox.
Shut up. No.
Yeah, I'm not getting a lot of Botox. I'm just getting this one wrinkle between my eyebrows that just doesn't want to go away anymore.
What made you decide to do it?
You know, mainly I've been thinking about it for a while, which is really funny because for the longest time I was thinking, like, every time I saw myself in pictures, I saw that my front tooth was discolored because my teeth were bonding from 4th grade. And I bit a bar and my teeth are fake, and bonding only goes so light, and my teeth are naturally a little bit whiter than what bonding goes to. So I decided, every time I looked at a picture, I'd be like, and there's my tooth. It like zeroed in on it. Aww. But now that my teeth are fixed, and also, of course, I spend $2,000 and get my teeth fixed, and we all wear masks now.
Right? Blasphemy.
I literally was talking to somebody about it at work the other day, and I was like, listen, I have beautiful teeth now. Who could know?
Right, just wait till you see them when it's time, because y'all gonna be like, oh, teeth.
But now it is the thing I notice is this lovely line. And then I was back and forth about whether I would actually get it done. Because, you know, it is actually like a subsidiary of botulism disease. Like, it's a paralytic that's going into your body. And, you know, and I was like, man, that just feels not great. And then my lovely 8-year-old goddaughter, we're walking around outside. We turned a corner. It was very sunny, and I squinted, and she was like, wow, you have this giant line between your eyebrows. And I was like, oh my gosh. And I may or may not have called the next day. So
listen, children, we love them, and we love them because, listen, I thought it was socially acceptable for a woman to have facial hair, specifically a mustache. So no one had ever said anything about it. So sure enough, my cousin and I took her daughter and her little friends and other little cousins out to dinner for her 9th birthday. And the one just looks at me and goes, oh, why you got a mustache in the middle of Red Robin? So everyone, of course, turns and looks. And I look at her, it's just like, you can't hurt a child. Not that I would
Right?
ever hurt a child, but I'm just like,
But
so
imaginations work.
right. So it was in February. I said, I have one because it keeps me warm. But when summer comes around, it will be gone. She's like, oh. Like, and that's when I learned. And it's so funny because my friend that I went to visit a couple weeks ago, we were college roommates, and I always looked at her upper lip because it was always like just flawless and there was no hair. And I would always just stare at her upper lip. Never said this to her until a couple weeks ago when I was visiting her. And I was just like, that's amazing. Like, some people are just born without hair. And she's just like, no, you just wax it. Like, I did not know this, but I never asked.
I will say being blonde is very, I'm like, I don't, a lot of people are like, they feel like they have to shave their arms and stuff. And that is not the life I lead. Like, I have a big old hairy arm. It's all there. It's just blonde. So
I
I'm
can't
very
even tell.
fortunate that you can't see it. But that is the same with my mustache now. In my age, they have started to darken up. So I've made the adjustment.
So here's a question. When you get gray hair, like, does it pop out more, or do you have any gray hair?
So um, so
There were giggles.
no, so I am very, very fortunate to have really good genes. Both of my parents don't really look their age. They're almost 70, and neither of them look almost 70.
I didn't
And
know they
then
were almost 70.
my grandma Lion is almost 90, and she is and she like does not look her age at all either. And so it's
I
like
call her that because she rules like a king.
I am very, very blessed with very good genes. I have maybe 7 gray hairs that I know of, but I'm pretty darn good about hiding them.
Oh,
Also,
girl.
7 hairs doesn't matter.
It's amazing. So I went blonde to, number one, live out a fantasy. Number two is to hide all of the gray I had. So I started getting, I used to have just like 2 in the back, like on my crown. And I was like, oh, that's a fun, cute surprise. But then I had like 2 villages sprout, like just north of my temples. And I'm like, this is rude. And I have a little like salt and pepper along the perimeter of my hairline. I'm like, y'all need to chill. But having it like blonde, I'm like, oh, it helps out a little bit. So
Yeah, I
we'll
definitely
see.
think my mom is blonde, and I flat out told her, I was like, you actually have really pretty gray. You should just let it grow in. There's this, I mean, I actually think there's a lot of people who with dark hair think they can't grow out their gray.
What?
Hi, Leah. Hi, Leah. And
That was for you,
I
Leah.
actually, if you have darker hair and you're not sure what you want to do with your gray, go on to Pinterest, love a Pinterest, and type in gray lights. It's highlights, but they literally make sure that they're actually gray. So it blends. It is the most beautiful hair. And I'm like, I want gray lights. And my hairstylist like, we just got you blonde again. Stop. Like,
I'm going to answer it for you. No.
the answer is no.
Right? Also, the last thing that I ate were peanuts and raisins, and it turned my tongue a weird color. So when we're doing this like Zoom and Facebook Live, like I'll laugh and I'll look at my tongue. So after I'm done laughing with like, I got, so I apologize, America, for what I keep doing because my tongue is just a weird color. I don't know. It's weird.
How you back, Stace? How's life? What's cooking? Good looking?
Oh, babe. A little tired. Work has been work. Thankful to be working, of course. But no, I'm all right. I'm hanging in there. I've had so end of last week, I was back in the office for the first time. So having to get up at a decent hour because I have to
just going back to the office. You said that to me, and I think that's really just clicking. Wow.
banana boats, right? So it's been an adjustment because I sleep right over there. So welcome to my bedroom again, America. So I can oversleep, and at like 8:30, I will roll out of bed and I'm like, all right, just fix your bun. And then I have to do vocal exercises because my first call is usually at 9 o'clock.
Have you noticed? Okay, so is this just me being a diva? And that's a
Yes.
very real possibility.
I mean,
Um,
continue. I don't know.
but like, have you noticed that as we've aged, like it takes me longer to sound like myself in the morning? So I've actually
Yup.
gotten to the point where I'm like, I'm not exaggerating when you say vocal exercises. I'm like, I probably spend the first 30 minutes of me getting ready, like doing vocal warm ups. And I'm like, this might be that I'm old, but also, I mean, I feel like I probably should have been doing that the whole time.
Girl, who you telling, right? Like maybe I could bust out some scales and actually be in tune if I paid attention. Oh, I missed my calling. Also, God knew. I've said it before and I'll say it again, America. God did not make me a singer because my ego could not handle it. I would have no.
Listen, God made me chubby because he knew I'd be a slut. So these are facts, man.
So
That's
upset
true.
with you. I'm so upset with you.
Did you write
First
it down though?
I'm about to right now. Oh my goodness. I'm so mad at you.
Yeah, no, it's totally true. God was like, listen, Chelsea's a party girl. She's got a pretty face. Give her that pretty face. We'll rock that face. And
But you rock
maybe
that
when she's,
body.
and then we're gonna make her a little chubby because otherwise she likes boys too much. She likes making out too much. She's gonna be a slut. Yeah, God made me chubby because he knew I'd be a slut. So hey, if you're listening out there and you agree with me, give me a like.
Don't
And I'll give
expect
you
anything.
a shout out. I went
Goodness
house hunting
gracious.
this week.
You went what?
I went house hunting this week.
I don't know why I thought you said roast. Apparently I'm hungry. I'm like,
Roast
roast hunting? Ditto, I'm like, roast hunting. I'm like, so you killed a boar. Like, that's where my mind went.
You killed the king's bull. How dare you? No, I went house hunting this week. I'm trying to get myself into the adult house life. I'm realizing that I can't really afford anything, so that's fun.
Welcome to America, where you can
Also,
only
it
make
is-
X amount of dollars, but they want your house to cost 3 times the amount of that.
It is really interesting because, like, I feel like some people's equivalent of like, oh, that's not a lot of money for a house is very different than mine. I do have a really good realtor who understands that like there is no wiggle room. Like I can either afford it or I can't. So a friend of mine, but we need to come up with we need a thing, Stace. We should probably take care of some business. That's the way we say it.
Gotcha. So what's it time for, Chels?
It's time for the fake name series of the day.
Ow! So the fake name series of the day is what we use to
Save the shade.
So instead of using people's real names, we use names that are from the fake name series of the day to hide their identities. But if they heard these stories,
They know who they are.
Did you meet him at a bar? Was it close or was it far? Either way.
Did you have to drive in a car?
Yeah. So we're going to throw it way back, kids. Today's fake name series of the day is The Wonder Years.
Oh, I was about to sing the wrong theme song.
Yeah, I always get it wrong. And also, I don't know the words. Let's be real. You watched Beat Shazam.
What a freaking good show, though.
What'd you say?
It's a freaking good show.
Right?
Kevin Arnold recalls growing up during the late 60s and early 70s. The turbulent social times make the transition from child to adult unusually interesting.
I like it.
The best part is that the guy who stars in it, Fred Savage, then his little brother gets like a growing up in the 80s and 90s TV show, Boy Meets World. I was like,
Boy Meets World.
Boy Meets World.
We had the greatest childhood, all right? You can fight me if you want. Actually, you can't because I'm not a fighter. I'm a lover.
So anyway, okay, so with the Wonder Years in mind, my dad couldn't come with me to go house hunting, so I brought my friend.
Guy or girl?
Oh, it's a guy.
Kevin Arnold.
Kevin Arnold, the main character. Um, Kevin Arnold, come with me. Now, the funny thing is, I was like, I'll pick you up, I'll drive, but I drive a very small car. Like I drive, it's a Ford Fiesta, guys. It's a tiny car.
It's
And
adorable.
I love my car, but it is tiny.
It
And
loves
so,
you.
but we were, I go to pick him up and he's very tall. He's well over 6 foot tall. And so I was like, hi, sorry, it's gonna be a squeeze. And we're driving like on the complete other side of the world. So we drive over. He is such a good guy to go house hunting with, though. Literally, the second he went in, he was like, he let me do the realtor thing where she like walks me around and goes, and here are light switches, and here are this. And he like the next thing I know, he's literally like in the attic, digging through stuff, seeing what's going on. Like such a freaking asset, man. Like, oh,
Come on, assets.
he did get into a little bit of a fight with my realtor. Because
What?
over like the power usage of a plug and like the ability of whether it could support a fridge, and he was like, well, this one's grounded, and if it was wired right, and she was like, no, it's not, and he's like, yeah, it is, if it's grounded right. Like to the point that when we went to the next house, that was what we talked about, grounding.
Oh, dang. Let's just not let it go. Let's just.
My finances are definitely, they put me in the like fixer upper handyman special type of house, and the first one we looked at was like it needed probably $20,000 worth of like work on it, genuinely. And then within the next 3 years it was going to need a roof, which is another like $13,000 to $15,000. And I was like, oh cool, so not in my budget anymore. And then and he goes, you don't want this house anyway. And I'm like, why? He walks me over to this one wall. There's a bay window. He goes, just follow the window down. And then the wall comes to the floor and there's the heat register, right? And it's like this far under the wall. You can see like this much of the heat register. The rest of the heat is going up the wall.
Wow.
Yeah. So then it was like, ooh, maybe not. So we go to the next house. The next house is completely fixed up. Everything's great. But it's like they've put too much money into it. They've redone it to the point where it's the nicest house in the neighborhood, and that's almost asking.
Chip and Joanna Gaines.
It's like asking for trouble, honestly, because like it was a little rougher of a neighborhood, and yeah, it was. I was like, wow, do I feel safe like walking around the block? I sure don't. So
right, like something to consider, but also it is hard to own a house right now. Like you have to have a ton of money coming in. Like it's really unfair when you look at it. And I was just talking to my dear friend Winnie this past weekend, and it's funny that you mentioned your friend Kevin Arnold, because so I went over to visit my friend Winnie. Let me backtrack a little bit. So
do it.
I had a week. Wasn't a bad week, but just like I'm adjusting having a commute again. I'm not even gonna lie. And so I went into work, and so I had my usual touch base call with my two bosses. And so we were talking, and twice a year my boss asks me if I'm still single, and every other year he asks me if I'm gay. So that day happened to be on Friday, and I'm just like, so we're doing like our usual, and we do like a Zoom call or FaceTime, whatever, so we can all see each other. And so he says this, and I'm like, here you go. And he's just like, no, wait, let me tell you how I got to that point. He's like, okay. So he goes, you've just done, me and my other boss, he's like, you guys have done so much for us. So I was thinking about like, who knows, like maybe when things like calm down, we can all like go to dinner or something like that. But the one boss, my other boss who's married, she was like, so she would be there with her husband. So that's what I was thinking, oh, are you seeing anyone? Because then, I wouldn't want you to feel awkward if you were by yourself. So I want you to know, like, if you're seeing someone, they could definitely be there. But then I don't know if you're talking to guys, so maybe you're talking to girls. So I just wanted to ask, I'm just like, you know what? I don't know how being gay works, but for me personally, I don't strike out on dudes and just say, well, this isn't working, let's try vagina. Like, it's just not how it works for me. I still like men. So there it is. So I felt,
And this is the thing. No, if that's how it works for you, if you're like, hey, if you're bisexual, be bisexual. But like, yes, sir. So, excuse me, my boss.
granted, we have a very close relationship, but still, I'm just like, here you go. So then I felt some type of way, and I was just like, you know what? No, just because like something throws your groove off doesn't mean the whole day sucks. Like you're still having a good day. You just had a hiccup. You just lost your stumble for a moment. So my friend Winnie, I hadn't seen her in a while, and I remember her telling me what her favorite flowers were, gladiolas. So I was going into the office, and I passed this florist, and they're like, gladiolas for sale. And I'm like, you know what? I've been studying. It's fine. So I've been studying Luke 6:38, like given it shall be
I'm
given
saying
unto
you are
you.
such a good friend. That's what my smile is for, Stacey. The
No,
fact that you just
fine.
remember what your friend's favorite flower is, like, what a good person.
Well, we just had the talk maybe like 2 months ago, so it's still pretty fresh. So it's nothing that like I would have remembered.
I'm still gonna give you the win for that. I'm still gonna give you the win for that.
I could win, and there are flowers for my friend Winnie. So I passed this florist. You're so rude. Enjoy your college friends so you can come back to your friend for life or whatever you said. You're the worst. So anyways, so I passed this florist. They had
a
them
little
for sale.
possessive of my friend Stacey.
Hilarious. But I'm the same way with her.
It's my best friend. And I'm like, great. I'm glad she's your college best friend. I'm your life best friend. Just ask Jamie Foxx.
It's true. So
he knows.
Listen, they know. So I picked up some flowers. I've been studying Luke 6:38, like given it shall be given unto you. So most people think of it as like a financial scripture, but it applies to every area of your life. So because I was feeling sad, especially my boss was just like, you're still single, you're probably gay. And I'm like, really didn't need that today. So I was like, you know what? Like, if you want love, you give love. So I'm like, you know what? It's just like I saw these flowers, made me think of my friend. I'm like, I'm gonna give her flowers. So I went by her house, I gave her flowers. She was like so ecstatic. I was like, didn't think it'd be that big of a deal. She's like, this is so nice. And then she's one of my favorite puppies ever. And by puppy, I mean this like big old cane Corso. So then I got to play with a puppy the whole time. And I'm just like, I really needed this love. So, so that made me so happy. But all of that to say, I picked her and her husband's brains because they are new homeowners. So they were telling me about the process and about like the cost of the home, but then compared to like whatever, if it's the nicest home in the neighborhood. And so they were pointing at different houses in their neighborhood and how they were able to do such a great job with their house. And now they can like fix certain things with it. Whereas the house next door was a ton more money and it's the exact same like floor plan. So it was fascinating. But we out here trying to be homeowners. The goal is for me to be one by my birthday, which would be really nice. You have till end of March, even though yesterday was my half birthday. Snapchat told me I didn't tell myself that. So I'm just saying.
We're out. You're not wrong. We're out here. I'm going to see one tomorrow at 9:30 a.m. So we'll see.
Ooh, Lord, if
it
is
is.
Someone make it happen.
I know, right? It's going on. It's going up, like, and available tomorrow. I'm the first person who gets to walk through it. So we'll see.
Ooh.
Yeah. We'll see.
That's the other thing. I need to take those like Michigan first time home buyer thingies. You were the first one that told me about it, and then my friend Winnie said the same thing. So I need to take those because who doesn't like free money?
I definitely do.
Right.
Oh, Leah, you're so sweet.
She is the sweetest.
She's sweet.
I think about her.
Also has a killer voice. She probably starts her day with vocal lessons or vocal stretches also.
Come through, Leah Bia. Come through. You want to know the only parts of Les Mis that I remembered were the parts with my dear friend, I'm going to say her real name, Bridget and Leah. Those are the only parts that I paid attention to in Les Mis. Chelsea knows because we just saw it together and now I know what the play is about. Never knew.
Also, she remembers this terrible picture of she and I because I bring it up constantly.
Yes. We were missing teeth and we had our
We look great.
Out.
A lot of cleavage.
Yeah. Well, listen.
It was probably like my now amount of cleavage on my high school body. It was a lot of cleavage. And I remember one of the girls duct taped her boobs together and then she was screaming in the bathroom and I felt bad.
A lot of people did that, and I didn't
Yeah, that
understand
feels,
why.
well, that's because you had titties.
Talk about me. Hey, hey.
So listen, my story. Here's my story, sad but true. Um, is not my story. It's my friend's story, but she called me and told me about it. And literally she was like, "This is your story for the podcast." And I was like,
Wait. Was your friend a lady?
she's a lady. Whoa,
Ooh.
she's a lady.
We're gonna call her Carla Healy.
Okay, and then I'm gonna let you know I need a boy and a girl's name for the story on top of Carla's name.
Oh, dang. Let's go with a guy and a girl. Let's go with Karen and Paul.
You're gonna have to remind me. So
I'm gonna have to remember.
so Carla, Carolyn, oh, that is gonna be hard. Carla,
It's
Karen,
going
and
great.
Paul. So Carla is she's on my trivia team on Thursday nights. So we did not place on Thursday. It was fine. But they were fine.
Was it Chelsea?
But they were going to a club after, and they're like, "Chelsea, do you want to come?" And I was like, "No, I have to work. This absolutely not."
What's a club?
Where I used to go to bars and where I used to go to specifically clubs on Thursday night. One club in specifics, which was Coyote Joe's, because they had dollar beers.
Girl, I drove many people home.
But yeah, I mean, like, I feel like I should just go there just to dance now and be like, "No, I'm not drinking. I'm not talking to you. I'm dancing." But they but that's not the life I lead now. So they went off to go to the club. She's like, "Let me tell you what happened at the club." So Carla gets to the club. She sees this man. This man's name is
Paul.
Paul is 20. She's okay. Carla's 26. Paul's 24. Paul just got out of the Marines. Now,
Hoorah,
man. My dad, my brother, my uncle, all that good stuff. I can say with a little bit of affinity towards it, but like a little bit of a knowledge towards the kind of Marines that are out there, that there are two, way overgeneralized, but we're gonna go with two types. There are the I like to think of it as like the Mulan, "I'll make a man out of you" Marines, where it's like all Marines end up leaving tough, but they definitely leave and they're like, they've become men, they're on their way to maturity, this is the life they're leading. And then there's the Marines that are like, "I was a Marine, so you should let me put my dick in you." Like, and that's the life they're leading when they get out. So like, Paul is definitely on the dicking side.
Paul Pfeiffer is on the dicking.
So Paul is giving Carla the eyes at the club. You know, he's looking at her, she's looking at him. There's music playing and all this stuff. And people are dancing like this. They're not dancing like that.
I was gonna say they're probably not dancing like that. I'm older.
So, and he comes over and he starts saying all this stuff, and he's like, it was just, oh no, he didn't come over. Carla was giving him eyes, and Carla's friend, who is also in our trivia team, Karen is a little bit older. She's like 20 years older than Carla, but like, you know, I mean, we're all living our best lives. So they all work together. It's super fun. So Karen is there and she goes, "I'm going to go over there and tell him that I think that you think he's cute." And then Carla's like, "Okay, but don't tell him that I told you to tell him. Like, tell him." It's so great. I love it. Tell him like you just volunteered the information and I'm just really shy and you just didn't, like, act like I'm not involved, but I just happened to tell you.
I love this.
Karen goes over to Paul and she's like, "Hey, my friend's really shy, but she's like into you. You should go see what's up." So then Paul makes his way over there and sits at the table next to them, where it's like he's very close and kind of just waiting for an opening. And Carla refuses to talk to him.
Carla, what happened?
She's just Carla is a self-admitted overthinker when it comes to men. And so
Girl,
she's like,
aren't
well,
we
now
all?
he wants to, like, obviously he thinks that I'm just going to sleep with him. That's what this is. And I'm like, well, even if it were, like, live your life, do what you want to do. But if it's not, that's okay too.
Also, that's me too. Because I'm like, oh my gosh, she's interested in me. He's gonna want to marry me because I'm amazing. I can't deal with this right now.
I can't. I can't.
You just can't.
So Paul eventually starts talking, and then talking to the table, but not really talking to Carla. And eventually Carla's like, yeah, no, sure, like, I'm gonna give you the tiniest bit of, like, acknowledgement that you even exist. And I was like, wow, you sound like you flirt like me. Where I'm like, oh, I might like that person, don't talk to them. Like,
Right? Says awkward thing. Well, that's over.
cool, killed it good, cool.
Right? Okay, we're good. Okay.
For sure time, yeah. So we
Before I got started, fantastic. That's how I roll.
that's my life, right? So he so so anyway, so the night starts going on, and he says to her, well, I don't give out my phone number, but you can find me on social media. And I was like, line. And she goes, how did you know that was a line? And I was like, please, girl, I don't give out my phone number means I'm not obligated to talk to you. Like you can, and this you can either, and he's like, so he sends her his information for socials, and then it's completely in your court. Now he knows if you friended him, he knows you're down, and he can, at least then he's not wasting his time, and then he'll come back around. But like, if you don't do it, he's not going to do it. And hi, Jess. And she's like, okay, so I waited, like, I don't know, like 20 minutes, because he said he was going to go. And then I waited like 20 minutes, and then I friended him on Facebook. And on his Facebook, once she friended him, she like stalked him for a little bit. She went through,
As
and she goes,
someone should.
And then she's like, it's not stalking when he allowed it, And so
it's stalking even if people don't allow it.
The tiniest side note of back to like post in the story, but back to where it's just Carla and I, and Carla shows me this picture that Paul had sent her, because she said, I don't want a dick pic. So of course he sends the absolute farthest down he can.
I can't stand it
without it being a dick pic. And it's he's so 100% that Marine. He has this death before futility, or like something about loyalty and all this nonsense, but it's right above his penis. And I was like, oh yeah, right above his sword, because he wants to kill you with his sword. He wants to impale you. And she was like, oh my god, I didn't even think about that. I was like, oh,
he's to impale you. I'm so mad.
He wants to impale you, little things. So
does he drive an Impala?
He legitimately sent this picture to her, and she's like, but he looks so hot. He does not look hot, by the way. He looks trashy. Like, Stacey and I was gonna say, if it was still dollar beer night. We have a mutual friend who joined the Marines. Hoorah, live your best life. And then had the infantry number tattooed down his side. Here's the thing, like, the infantry is the literal first step in the Marines. So like, to have it full size down your side, that number, like, my dad, who is a Marine, saw it and was like, what a freaking tool. Like
24601. I was a prisoner.
Hi, Melissa. Listen, we got like Stevenson High School in the house right now.
Listen, you say it's an urban legend. You say Les Mis, and you say the name of your high school musical when you were in high school, and then all of your friends reunite, and it feels so good.
I got to see Jess in person. I did her eyebrows this week. So
hey girl, hey.
But so okay, so she does all this stuff. So as soon as she friends him, then magically he comes back into the bar, and I was like, well, yeah, because you friended him, so now he knows you're down. But she made a comment to me that like because as soon as I saw that picture, I was like, oh, he has like a negative credit score. He's the guy who makes the decisions based off the moment. He is fun in that moment. But long term, that guy's gonna stress you the heck out. She's looking at me going, why aren't you shocked by anything I'm telling you? And I was like, because I'm 35. So
right, because I've been there and I've done that, and I'm trying. Listen, each one teach one.
Right? Listen, Jess just said her eyebrows are on point, and she has to wear a mask for teaching, so all they're seeing is these beautiful eyebrows.
You better give them brows. Thank you for all that you do, teachers. You're amazing.
Seriously.
I've always said parents and teachers are superheroes. Now the rest of the world knows why I've always said that. You're welcome.
Preach.
Well,
but we
So wait, what happened? He came back.
So he came back to the bar. He came back to the bar, and then he's like talking to her, and she's like, "Oh, hey, I thought you were gone," and he's like, "Well, I went to this other bar, and then it was
in 20
boring.
minutes.
So then I came back," and I'm like, "No, he thinks he has a chance to bang you, so he's gonna play his options out." So then she's like, "Okay, well, I'm gonna go back to my table now." And she goes and sits down. Carla goes and sits down. Karen's like, "What's going on? What's happening?" Da 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 da. So she ends up flipping off. He ends up saying, "Okay, well, I guess I'm gonna leave then." And she was like, "Okay." And then he sends her a message from downstairs, and he's like, "Man, I wish I could have gotten a goodbye hug." And she's like, "Well, you didn't even like really say goodbye to me." And he goes, "Well, I'm downstairs if you wanted to like come outside and say goodbye." And I was like, "You didn't." And Carla's like, "Oh, I totally did." And I was like,
duh.
line. These are all lines. Mind you, if that's what you wanted to get, you want to get with that guy, then get with that guy. Live your best life.
Well,
but
also, like, how young is she?
She's 26. She's yeah. Like she's
this is.
Yeah. So she goes down, but she like she wanted him to be like a genuine guy. And I was like, that's not who this guy is. This guy's a one and done. Like he's probably a 2-pump chump too, if we're being real. But sorry. Hi, Dad, doing the podcast.
2-pump chump. What the heck are you talking about in there? You're always my little girl. You don't know anything about that. Oh, you're making money. Oh, sorry. Bye, kid. I'm gonna go.
So we
Thanks for stopping by.
My life's hilarious, isn't it? So he says, "Oh, I would have liked a goodbye hug." So she goes downstairs, she gives him a hug. They talk for like 30 seconds. She goes back upstairs, and then maybe 5 minutes go by, and then he goes, "Man, I really probably should have asked for a goodnight kiss." And she's like, "Well, why didn't you when I was down there?" And I was like, because he wants to see if he can get your butt down there again. He wants to see how much control he has over this situation. And she was like, "Well, I went down there." And I was like, "Of course you did."
Right? Like, this is what we did in our 20s. Like, oh my gosh, okay.
We did. And then we got shocked when we go, "Oh, hey, Bridget, we were just talking about you."
Because I love you.
Oh. And so we you're the cutest, Steve. So she goes down there, she kisses him. She's like, "He's a really good kisser," which means he's probably really good at other things. And I was like, "Well, did you find out?"
Not necessarily true. Did you see Hitch?
Very true. Yeah, that's Stacey's point. Very true. So she's like, "But I figure, I kiss him a little bit, and now I'm like curious what's going on beyond the kissing." And I'm like, "Oh, okay. Well, did you go home with him?" She's like, "No, I went back up to talk to my friend." Now here's where it gets interesting. So because she didn't leave Karen, so Carla's a good friend. She did not leave Karen in the bar.
Very good.
Good for you, Carla.
Need a wing woman.
So the next
also
day,
also wings.
Right. The next day at work, Karen comes in, walks up to Carla, and she's like, "You are not going to believe what just happened to me." And she's like, "What just happened to you?" Also, I don't think it was in face-to-face because otherwise she would have seen the messages. So I think it may have been after work. But she's like, "Guess who has been messaging me? Karen, who is 20 years older than Carla and 20 years older than this guy." Paul's been messaging Karen, and she's like, And I said,
wait. What?
which
Wait.
so Karen, see, okay, you're giving Carla the reaction she wanted. I was like, of course this guy's going to Karen. He is poor. He has nowhere to live. Oh, because one of the posts in Facebook that she saw was like, does anybody know where I could get an apartment with zero credit check?
Oh, wait.
Like,
whoa. I mean, the
yeah.
projects.
So, yeah, exactly.
Assisted living.
Right? Like, you live with little grandmas. So
listen, stack your chips, do what you got to do.
and I was like, of course he's gonna sit there. He probably talked to you about where you live, and when he found out you live with your parents, he was like, ooh, I can't move in with this chick, so maybe I'll go find out how Karen's doing. And she was
it's what Dave taught us is a hobosexual. They just want to use
hobosexual is a hobosexual is 100% what this guy was. And I wasn't even shocked. And she was like, Carla was like, I really thought you were going to be more shocked about this. And I was like, I mean, I've been around the block, and unfortunately there are some hobos. And like,
these are facts.
these are actual things.
I was just shocked that you said that they were messaging. I was like, wait, he friended both of them? That's why I was like,
so
wait, what?
So he literally friended Carla, and then on Carla's friend list, he found Karen.
Dang.
And then he messaged her. And then, you know, I kind of understand, because, you know, there's the point where you're 26 and you're like, she's so hot. She's such this, if I looked like her when I was 26, dang. But once again, reason why God made me chubby. So
Chelsea got 5 kids by 5 dudes.
I'd be getting all the texts. No.
You're going to go to college.
So, but like, she's sitting there going, she's like, I'm not upset, but like, also like, I don't consider myself in competition with Karen. And I was like, I completely understand what you're saying. You're not insulting Karen for who she is, but she is 20 years your senior. I would not consider myself to be in competition with Karen. And she's only 9 years my senior. So I get it. Like,
it's real in these streets.
And she's like, I just don't understand. And I was like, that has less to do with her, because she was kind of upset that she was even messaging him. And I was like, that has less to do with her and more to do with him. Like, as the friend, like, if Stacy met a guy and he then found me on their Facebook and he messaged me, I would probably be like, oh, I'm gonna check him out enough, I'll see what's up. And then if the second he started like insinuating that he was more interested in me, that's when I go to my friend and be like, listen, run.
Absolutely. And then I'd be like, number one, I would be a little butthurt. I'd probably like wouldn't process. It takes me 24 hours to process things. I'm totally a 9 on the Enneagram. So it would take me 24 hours. And the next day I'd be like, oh, well, if he's not meant to be mine, he's not meant to be mine. And then they would be Chelsea's if she wanted him.
But he wouldn't be.
Right. But I'm just saying, like,
this is the thing. The guy that is like, now, if I actually thought for a second this guy was actually interested in Karen for anything other than her like couch or wallet, like her bed or wallet, it would be a different thing. Like if somebody, but that's exactly what was happening in this situation. Like she just isn't. Yeah. So she's like, she goes, I just don't want to. Like, I don't want her to think I'm mad at her, but I'm also a little butthurt she was talking to her. And I'm like, she was talking to him. And I'm like, I get it. But also, like, if it were me and the guy that my friend was talking to started messaging me, I would probably be like, innocently. I'd be like, I'm just going to, oh, yeah, okay. I guess we're all just friends. Sure. But then the second it became not innocent, that's when it would be. I probably actually wouldn't even wait until it wasn't innocent. I would probably have already texted Stace and been like, dude, he's messaging me. Feels weird.
Right. Like, that's what I was wondering. How did she find out that they were messaging?
Karen messaged her. And that's when I was like, did you see what the messages were? Because listen.
Thank you. That was my second question.
So because I was like, did you see the messages? And she goes, no, but I believe her. And I was like, no, I don't not believe her. But my question is, how was she replying to these insinuations? Because the guy's all of a sudden messaging her being like, I was interested in you more. I thought you were walking over to talk to me about you and all this stuff. And I was like, he's just rubbing her ego, hoping he can get something out of her. And unfortunately, that's just where it is. And I'm like, now, mind you, as a 44-year-old woman, like maybe she wanted that attention. You can't really hold that against her. Like, he's not yours. He's just a guy that you friended on Facebook, and he sent a really, really ridiculous photo to you. And I'm like, but I was like, I can understand how you'd be butthurt. I wouldn't be expecting it. I would not expect one guy to be interested in both of you. And I'm like, and that's how you know that he's that kind of Marine.
Good way to sum that up, Chelsea. Yes.
Oh man.
People.
Oh,
Thank you for your service.
I did go on a date on Friday. It's very quick.
Oh,
he didn't show up.
Apparently it was, because the way you said it, I'm like, oh no.
Yeah, I went to BJ's over on Hall Road, and I sent him a message. I was like, hey, I'll see you soon. I'm here. I'll be at the bar.
His name was Doug Porter.
Sure was. And I sat down and I waited for Doug Porter, and and Doug Porter never showed. And but the bartender was really nice.
Aww.
Hey, here's the thing. Honestly, I was super upset about it on Friday, but like, what are you gonna do?
Me too.
Like, you can't be mad. Like, that doesn't solve anything. And it's honestly,
also, for all we know, hopefully it did not happen, but maybe something tragic happened, and that's why he didn't make it.
I mean, yeah, and if it's tragic, I never heard from him again. So
that's what I'm saying, right?
Oh my God, my future boyfriend died.
I'm not laughing. I'm sorry. I did laugh. I'm sorry, but
well, that sounds like a stalker funeral.
There was an episode of Sex and the City when Miranda was mad because the dude stood her up, and she called him, and his mom picked up the phone. She's like, let me tell you about your son. And it turned out he died. And that's why he stood her up.
I don't remember that episode. I remember the one time that Charlotte asked to be set up, and her friends like didn't set her up, and she was like, if you didn't want to set me up, then why'd you even tell me about him? And then they were like, wow, you really wanted to see this guy. Sorry, we were out of town. And she's like, oh, well, I mean, he seemed nice.
Was it the same one when like a couple set her up, and then the guy of the couple was just like, actually, no, it's me. I'm in love with you. But they were like a married couple.
No, but oh my God, that's great. Oh. Maybe it is.
Right? Like, you're supposed to set me up. Like, that's, I don't know if it was the same episode or not.
I also enjoyed the episode when she has the party where everybody brings their ex. And then the one guy she's interested in. Oh my God, yeah. So everybody brings their ex to this party. And because you're not interested in him anymore. And so everybody's going to meet these people who like, and then she hits it off with this one ex that somebody brought to the party. And everybody's somebody's ex, right? So she starts hitting it off, and the ex, the girl who brought him, is so crazy jealous that she walks into one of the rooms and they're making out. Like,
oh my gosh. See, now our friends from last week.
I could never go to that party. I am way too much of a like re-dater of my exes.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Yeah, dude. Well, not with all of them. The cheaters can stay there. But I wouldn't want them to come to that party either. But all the ones that I like had amicable leaves with, I would get super possessive over them. I would be the girl who was like crazy about it and be like, I know we didn't work, but I don't really want you I don't want to see you work with anyone else.
Interesting. I can't even say how I would feel because I've never been in that situation, to be quite honest. But our friends from last week, Tales by the Bar Side, Remy, Lauren, James and Scott, but the one who said they went out, the one that met like the love of his life, and then the ex was there. I'm like, this is a party that they could have gotten behind.
Yeah, they would have been fine with.
Right?
That was, yeah, no. I remember there was a guy that I was like extremely casually hanging out with. Extremely casually. And I saw him at a bar that we both happened to be at, and we weren't supposed to. Like, it wasn't we weren't there together. We just both happened to be there. And he was on a date, and like, I don't even think he was on a date. I think he was just hitting on a girl. And I remember sending him a text message that was like, "Stop effing flirting with her." Mm-hmm. And I was like, "I don't care." And he was like, and he responded with, "You know, you're not my girlfriend, right?"
First of all, you don't tell me who I am. Also, I know.
I was like, "Trust. Also, you're not my boyfriend, but I don't want to see that nonsense." Like,
oh my gosh.
I think it was also that she was not super pretty. And I like feel like if I'm gonna watch you flirt with someone else, she better be a freaking 10. Like, I don't want to sit here and be like, "You took a step down." That's not. Step up your game.
You are ridiculous, right? You are ridiculous.
Listen, America, am I wrong? I might be. That's a valid concern. But like, if you don't, you want people to like grow from you. I want people to like, I want him to be like, "You know what? I had this great chick who might be a little nuts, and and like, I'm here. I'm gonna take the next step up. Now I'm gonna get an even hotter chick." And that's like, yeah, hell yeah, man. I want to see the person that I used to be with like a crazy hot chick, unless they cheated on me, and then they deserve a butthole.
But even if the person's crazy hot, it doesn't mean that they're not crazy.
Well, you know, that whole scale, of course they're gonna be a little crazy, but like but yeah, I just feel like I want to be able to look back and be like, "Oh yeah, we dated one time." That's who you ended up with after me? I don't know. What would you rather have, Stacey? Would you rather have an ugly chick for your ex-boyfriend or a pretty chick?
I mean, they're not my dude. So I'm thinking of like people I've dated in the past, and then I see, you know, we stalk on Facebook or Instagram, whatever.
Right.
And you see their new person. I'm just like,
Or Stacey,
happy.
let's correct this. Stacey doesn't care, and we stay in the studio late one night, and I make her look up her exes.
Forgot about it. No, seriously, Stacey.
Look at him.
Listen, my dear mother, who I love. There was this one guy, Chuck Coleman. So we dated like years upon years ago, like a decade ago. And so maybe like a couple of years ago, my mom was just like, "Hey, like, do you think like if the opportunity came around, if Chuck came around, like that would be something that you'd be willing to try again?" I'm like, "Nah, like we're not supposed to be together. Like it is what it is. Like it's fine." She was just like, "Oh, because I stalked him on Facebook and he's dating a white chick now, so you lost your chance. I just wanted you to know that." I'm like, what? She's a savage. Like my mom
is so mean sometimes. Like
right, like she's
to your brother's father-in-law specifically. She's a beast when it comes to him. This passive aggressive.
Like she says it's all in good fun, but like when you meet my mom, my theory on my mom is she would have been a nun, but then she met my dad and she was like, "Oh, this is cool too." So she's like the sweetest, like kindest, like well-mannered, praying, good Christian woman. But
and then she sneak attacks.
Right. Sometimes she'll say these things. I'll be like, "Ma." Like one time she had this shirt. She's quite conservative. So people would make fun of me because I would legit wear 3 shirts in high school. And not because it was trendy, but just because if you're showing like any of this bone, I'm like, "Horse, you can't do it."
Clavicles.
Right? Oh, clavicles. So, but like my mom, that's the way my mom was. And she got that from her mother. So if anything, my mom wanted to break that cycle. So like coming into puberty, my mom was like, "Hey, you're young, like flaunt it while you got it, get a 2-piece, get all this stuff." And I was just like, "Oh, good day, woman, that is ridiculous." But my mom, I don't know, maybe it was like a few years ago, but she had some old clothes, like she bought a shirt and she tried it on and it was draped like this. And so she changed out of her shirt. She goes, "Oh, I look like a whore in this. Here, you'll love this shirt." And I tossed it to me. Or no, she said, "I look like a slut in this shirt. Here, have it. You would like this." I'm like, "Do you just call me a slut?"
Yeah.
So I guess there's a little secret slut in all of us, and God just made provisions.
God just made adjustments to keep everybody in the straight and narrow. Keep us in line.
I like the way you say it, straight and narrow. It's America.
Marines, get straight. Straighten those lines.
Keep the color inside the lines.
I don't know, but I've been told.
I don't know, but I've been told.
Stacy's mom thinks we're getting too old.
And she thinks that we a hoe.
Ah, there you go. How involved. I like it. Listen. So ridiculous. I love it so much. But yeah, so I had a date and he didn't show up, and then Carmen had we're having quite the thing.
Right.
Also, just a random PSA for everybody.
I mean, we started it that way. Let's end it on the same note.
Which is gonna sound really weird. Christmas products are starting to drop in stores. So if you feel like you actually want deals, you should start shopping now.
Wow. It's funny because at work, our joke all this year has been, well, tomorrow's Christmas because time is just flying by. Now I'm just like, wait, tomorrow's October. So it's pretty much Christmas according to the retail calendar.
Like we legit, like if you want to get legit very, very good makeup deals, we already have our Christmas sets in. And they're good.
Okay, don't get mad. Is there such a thing as like holiday makeup?
Yeah. I mean, there's just, okay, so like for someone like me who wears makeup every day, no, it's just extra makeup. But like for someone like Stacy, my gorgeous, naturally beautiful diva,
I'm using a filter.
Like people would buy like maybe a sparkly eyeshadow or a nice redder lip. And then that's their holiday makeup,
Ooh, I'm gonna wear red lips for y'all at some point.
Listen,
it's been a while. Why not?
Ulta's finally getting up into the 21st century, and we can online book for brows now. So we actually have so you don't even have to call. You don't have to call.
Thank you. It's okay, girl. Because I'm gonna wax your brows tonight.
Love you too. Also, my karaoke bar just got all of the songs from Moulin Rouge, the Broadway version, and so
that's your dream.
And so I literally saw it, and I made an announcement at the bar, and I was like, yeah, because it was kind of slow, so I would say there were maybe only like 5 of us singing, and I was like, so every song I sing from this point on is gonna be from Moulin Rouge the musical. But the reason that it's great is because it's like mashups of songs people actually know, so it's not completely random musical songs. It's not like me singing Hamilton at the bar. But like they have, which I absolutely do. My bar gets that. They're fine.
Also, I've been on a musical kick lately because my one friend, Ida Pfeiffer, nice. She is also a teacher. Shout out to Jess. Hey. And so she was teaching and she was playing, she's a choir teacher. And so she was playing Hamilton in her classroom during like office hours or something like that. And she's like, I'm playing Hamilton, but there's no one in there. I was like, oh, no one else was in the room where it happened. Nice. I was pretty excited.
There are Stacey, there's actually some really good shows out right now. There's one called Six, and it's about Henry VIII's 6 wives, and they turned them into a girl group. So they sing like pop versions about how they died.
I feel like you would love that.
Oh, I am obsessed with that album. It's great, guys. Everyone should listen to it. But there's one from the Moulin Rouge song called oh God, I'm not gonna remember it now. It's a mix between Gnarls Barkley's Crazy and Adele's Rollin' in the Deep, and it's called Crazy Rollin'. And so it'll be like, we could have had it all. And then like it'll flip right back to maybe I have no it's so good. Yeah.
That was really good.
To not get sued. Thanks.
Oh, please don't. Listen, we're in a pandemic and we could use more money.
Also, if Aaron Tveit is listening, he's not, but he is single. So
no, he could be. You better manifest that. Speaking into existence.
Listen, Aaron Tveit, if you're listening, I would just really enjoy singing with you just a couple times, like, or forever.
And I would love a hug from you. I said it. I meant it. I'm here to represent.
You know who he is?
No. But I like hugs.
Do you know who he is? No, but I like hugs. Listen, this has been great. You guys are always a treat. We love you. Thank you so much for listening. We're happy to give everybody shout outs. Make sure you're still giving us likes. I'm double checking that I actually shouted out everybody. Amanda didn't get a shout out. Hi, Amanda. Let me just double check on this one too.
And also be sure to tell your friends to check us out on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. And because there's always fun, magical, made up holidays, today is actually International Podcast Day. So thank you for representing with
Thanks
your
for liking our
girls.
podcast. Thanks for giving us 5 stars on iTunes. That actually helps us get out to more people. And thanks for being you, because that's honestly the best person you can be. So, just live your best life. We're all living in this crazy world.
Oh, I don't have pants on.
We're living in a material world, and Stacey has no material for her pants.
By choice.
Because we are living in a material world, and Stacey isn't wearing pants.
That's right.
Thank you guys so much for checking us out. We love the support. We are here for you. Make sure you message us. We do respond. And
Yes.
and if you see us on Instagram at RWIS Podcast or Twitter, just throw us a like or a tweet or a hey, because we like that too. I'm Chelsea.
You can always, and I'm Stacey. This is Reasons Why I'm Single. We'll see you next week. Okay, bye.
Bye. I'm sorry for cutting you off.
We're on Facebook too.
Damn. I'm gonna assume the music is playing.
If not, we can remix. We can remix. We could remix.
Single, ready to mingle. Yeah.